back, bosses! Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Andrea Patrick, the Busy Boss, and I specialize in helping you with authenticity. What is it? How can you be yourself no matter what and achieve the things that you want to achieve? How can you show up, do, and be your best in every occasion? That's what we're talking about here on this channel. And this week, I've got a special guest. Her name is LYNETTE'S Robinson, and she is a bad, you know what? I'm not gonna say it, but you know it starts with an A. Okay. She is amazing. I met her a while back inside of a Facebook group and was just so impressed by her bio. I mean, she's phenomenal and her information top notch. You're not gonna want to miss it. If you did not know, I am in the middle of a series where we are launching a challenge, Search for Success, and we are searching for the blueprint to help you create the success strategy you need to do and be your best in every situation, in every category of life. And it's the way that you're going to teach people who you are, how to treat you, and you're going to manage expectations. This blueprint is going to give you exactly what you need to create that strategy for yourself. So I am sharing the stage with some phenomenal women that can help you sort of see where it is you need to make some adjustments in a lot of different areas. And today we're talking about business and how you can up level your business, how you can do better, be better, and get the things you want in your business. And Lynette is going to share with us some information about that. But before we get to all of that, I want to read you her bio because she is phenomenal. And remind you that the full interview with Lynette is over on my podcast, the CEO Mindset Podcast. You know, right? You've seen that. You've already subscribed, right? You've been here. If you are new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And also go over to my podcast. The link is down in the description and subscribe there as well, because all of the interviews that we have here on the channel, there is an entire podcast interview that goes on for a good 30-40 minutes in addition to the information that these guests are sharing here. So make sure you're heading over there to listen as well. And if this is something that you like, I can continue this because I do enjoy doing interviews with people. But if you like the idea of having them here on the channel and then also being able to listen to them in extensive version over on my podcast, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to do that with you. But for now, let me read you who Miss Lynette is. She is a certified elite speaker, highly sought after podcast guest, certified master life coach, serial entrepreneur, and top business coach. Not only has she been featured on numerous international platforms, but she's also owned successful online and brick and mortar businesses, all while raising her family. Already sounds like somebody you want to hear from, right? With nearly 15 years of experience coaching and teaching other entrepreneurs to flourish in their desired niches, Lynette has had the opportunity to work with high-performing entrepreneurs at every stage of their businesses across multiple different industries, including health and wellness, music, coaching, and e-commerce. Her high-level knowledge of each sector combined with her genuine desire to support others to step into the best versions of themselves has helped her clients achieve groundbreaking results. She's been able to 10x and even in some cases 12x their sales to dramatically increase their income and impact using her potent combination of science-backed mindset, coaching, and customized sequencing and powerful strategies. I want you to take note here. Mindset is really key to everything that we're talking about, and the blueprint that is happening within the Search for Success challenge is really going to help you get into the right mindset that is going to help you achieve a ton of things. A lot of these guests that have been on over the past few weeks are talking about mindset first, because that is so important in order to do a lot of things that they're talking about and their specials and their expertise. Mindset is key here. So doing this challenge and helping you get your blueprint together is going to put you in the right headspace to achieve a lot of things and create that success strategy you're going to want, right? So she's an amazing coach, entrepreneur who's going to share so much information with us in this interview. So if you are interested in knowing how to really get out of your rut and achieve your goals in your business and 10x or 12x your sales, definitely want to listen to this interview today. And you want to hear everything she has to say in the podcast. So sit back, maybe even grab a pen and some paper so you can take some notes for this video and enjoy my interview with Lynette'S Robinson. I'm excited to chat with her. Let's go ahead and dive in. So for the person out there who fears their dreams are never going to be realized, what are 3 to 5 things they can do right now to scale their business?
I love this question because it's looking at so many things, right? Like you're talking about fear of something not happening. You're talking about like the how do I get there?
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of layers.
And it doesn't
here.
just have to be for business either, because in our space, people are entrepreneurs, but they're also trying to just achieve life goals. So
yes.
What can we do if we're afraid that these dreams are never going to be realized?
So my first thing to tell you is like, if you're in that space, like give yourself a break. You're not alone. So many people who you see now that you're like, oh my gosh, their success is so crazy. They're doing all this stuff. I can guarantee you at some point they have been in the same place where they have thought to themselves, I don't know if I can do this. It feels so far away. And that happens sometimes, like our dreams, our goals, they feel so far away. And so we start to fear that it's never going to happen. And this is the real question that pops up right after that one is like, what does it mean about me if that dream is not realized?
Oh my gosh.
And so the number one thing that I would say, the very first thing to do is change your questions. Change your questions and start to examine like what's coming up for you when you have this fear of like, oh, this is, maybe you want to build a 6-figure business, or maybe you want to travel the world, or whatever it is that your dream is. When you think to yourself, oh, it's never going to happen for me, what's coming up inside of you? What feelings, emotions, thought patterns are emerging as you're wrestling with that fear? Because that's really going to tell you what you need to do next. Because for most people, if the next thought is like, I'm never going to be able to do that, or I'm not worthy of doing that, or I'm not capable, because like that's the ticket, is that there's something inside of your subconscious that is feeding that fear that it's not possible for you. And so I love to help people with my one-to-one clients and my mastermind clients, just really, I always describe it like this, like take your fear by the shoulders and like look it straight in the face and say, okay, we're here. What's going on? Like, what do you need to tell me? Because oftentimes our fear is there. It's developed out of a sort of conscious or subconscious need for feelings of safety and security that are biological, right? And so if you can look at that, then you can kind of unpack the next things. The step after that I think applies to everyone is you really need to change the way that you talk about your life, your goal, your thing. I was reading in this amazing book the other day that it was talking about this phrase, abracadabra. And oftentimes we think it's this like little thing that magicians say, but is actually Aramaic for essentially like, as I speak, I create. And this to me is so powerful because your words really, really do have creative power inside of them. And so when you're saying to yourself constantly, like, it's never going to happen for me, or like, it's just so hard. I mean, this is like, can we just camp out there for a second? Like,
yeah,
how many times
this
a day?
Is the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, how many times a day do you say, oh, it's so hard to? You scroll on Instagram and you hear all the time people talking about how hard it is to be an entrepreneur. It's like, is it hard? Or are there just like a lot of steps and like things you got to learn? And it like,
right.
Is it hard, or is it just
labor intensive? It's just labor intensive. It's just, they're, like you said, they're just different layers to it. And you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes the process of finding out what you don't know is frustrating.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean it's hard. It doesn't mean that it's difficult.
Right. And I think so as you shift like how you talk about it, it literally will start to change the landscape of your physical brain as to what's possible for you next. And then, I mean, there's like a million steps, right? But like the first thing is like, look your fear in the face, watch what's coming up for you. Ask yourself like what's underneath this? Start to change how you're talking about that goal. And then examine what in your world, whether it's family, friends, what you watch, what Netflix show you binge, like what, podcast you're listening, what is in your world that's telling you that that's not possible? And something that I will say that I have become increasingly more and more conscientious of is the things that I consume for entertainment.
Yes.
Because it seems like, oh, it's just funny, it's just this, but it's still sending messages to your subconscious about what's possible. And so if you find yourself constantly bumping up against like maybe just a certain level of success or a certain level of, achievement, really examine who's in your world. What are they saying? What are you watching? Because those things are impacting you when you don't even realize it. And so if you can take control of that, then you can take control of your life. I have one mentor who's very, very serious about this. And she was saying how she heard, I think it was Dan Kennedy, say that if you have even one negative person in your life, that it will be a money block for you. Because their negativity is going to be blocking the energy of abundance coming into your life.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was my exact response. I was like,
that's what's going on. It's time to cut some people loose.
And this is what's crazy to me is that she then shared a story how she heard her daughter had a friend who was really negative. And after she heard this, she went down to her daughter and she took her phone and said, this person can't be in our world anymore. And explained why. Her daughter was like, oh, okay. And then just months later, they hit their first 7 figures. And I know your mouth is gaping open right now. That was my exact response. And thinking to yourself, are there people in my close proximity, people that I'm allowing into my...
I can think of one major one in my mind right now.
Yeah, it's your most intimate spaces where it's they're negative and they're saying things or doing things that are in opposition of what it is that you're trying to create. And it's not that you have to be all ruthless and just cold-hearted cut them out, but really examine. And if it's someone that you're really close to, a parent, a child, a partner, have this conversation with them. Have the conversation that says, hey, listen, I'm working towards this. And this is the way that I need you to talk about these things around me.
Okay.
And people who really love you will be like, okay, even if they don't get it yet, they will get it because they will see the evidence of that coming to fruition in your life.
These are great tips. And I was writing them down. The very first one that you mentioned, what came to my head was allowing your fear to inform your action. And that saying, okay, this is the fear, but then asking the sub questions. Okay, why are you here? What is bringing this up for me? What are the little things that are causing this to bubble to the surface? What are those emotions and feelings and things, thoughts and perspectives that are causing me to have this fear, and dealing with that so that you can then make a better choice in terms of what you do next, the action that you do next. That's so important. And I think, again, I said this earlier, we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah. And
until you take a little moment and really understand who you are, how you became that person. And I call it unpacking the bag. Lynette, I say, when I speak, I always say, hey, we all show up to this party with the bag. We've got baggage. And some of us are showing up with the hobo bag because it's full of things that we did not put in it, that were given to us, that we don't need and are not serving us. And so until we do the work to unpack that bag and repack it with the things that are us, that we know are us, that are going to be fueling us towards what it is we're trying to do, we're going to stick with that hobo bag. But when we do the work, we will have a certified luxury handbag, honey. You choose. Are you a LV? Are you a YSL? Who are you? And that's what you can carry once you've done the work. And I think that process is important to get to the point where you can even be conscious enough to know, to look at that fear and shake it, like you said, and say, okay, what is this about? Why does this keep coming up? Why is this triggering me so? You have to be conscious to, aware enough of yourself to do that. Otherwise, you'll keep going in the same traps, falling in the same traps, because you don't know why you're being triggered in the first place,
Right. Yeah. Precisely.
I love that. And I love these other steps, just changing the way you talk about yourself and the situation itself. And then this last one is going to trigger a lot of people. I'm going to tell you right now.
I know. I'm meddling just a little bit.
Because getting rid of that negative, my husband is downstairs. I don't know if he's listening, but I'm like, I cannot wait to talk to him about these negative people that we need to remove in order for us to have this prosperity and this abundance. But it's so true. And it does weigh on you. The person that I'm thinking of, we have such opposite mindsets around certain things, and hers are very negative. And when I'm around it, my shoulders just kind of draw up with the stress and just the tension and stuff. Even prior to being in her presence, just knowing that I'm going to be in her presence, those things start to kind of tighten up in me. And so you're right. It can definitely block your ability to get where it is you're trying to go and realize your dream. So great advice. I love that. So I appreciate those tips. And I'm sure everybody listening does too.
Before we go to that, I just want to add one thing. The last kind of subcategory of that third step is that get support. Really, 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 we are a people created for community. And we're designed to thrive in the context of community. So plugging into a mentor, plugging into a coach, plugging into a mastermind, a community, a membership, like whatever, where there are people who are reaching for and crushing their goals. It is like the golden ticket, the, fast track to getting you where you want to go for so many reasons that maybe we'll get to talk about later, or you can DM me on Instagram and we can chat about it. But because it's not enough just to remove people who aren't
right. It's the same as the first
track.
part of the conversation. You got to add stuff in.
Yeah.
You got to have the thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
So good. But listeners, do you see the full circle we just made there? Because we started off talking about a diet and not, feeling like we have to get rid of the soda, but instead adding in the water. Yep. This is the same rule applies here.
Exactly.
You need to get rid of those negative people and the things that are not serving you, but you also need to add in those positive things and the people who are pouring into you, because we cannot flourish from an empty vessel. Like, our cup needs to be filled in order for us to see the abundance and the success in the life that we want. We have to fill our own cup first. It's just like being in an airplane. They're going to tell you to pull your mask down first before you start sharing air with other people. Yep. We have to do that. We have to fill our cup. So good. Yeah. So good.
And the thing about that, what a lot of people I think don't really understand is that the idea of filling your cup is not so that you can pour out. You fill your cup so that you can serve people from the overflow,
yes,
of what is in your cup. It's about the overflow. So really getting
the
those
excess.
Yes, the
your
overflow,
cup needs to
the
stay
abundance.
Full. Yeah.
Yes.
This is not a situation where you're pouring out and you have a third of a cup, a half of a cup, a quarter of a cup. No, it's you are giving from the stuff that's spilling out is what you're giving. You're collecting the spillage and that's what you're sharing.
Yes, precisely.
Good job. Yeah, very good point to make. Yes.
All right, guys, was that not phenomenal? She gives some really good pearls of information that you do not want to miss. So make sure that you are listening to the full episode over on my podcast, the CEO Mindset Podcast. And also go ahead and subscribe here to the channel if you haven't already. Give this video a big thumbs up and comment below and tell me what was your favorite part about the interview. Tell me what you learned. Maybe add to it, but comment below because those comments are great. Also, go ahead and register for that Search for Success Challenge so you can create your own blueprint and then have the success strategy you need to get where you want to go. All right, thank you so much for watching today's video. All of the things like Instagram, TikTok, follow me. All that information is down in the show notes as well. I'll see you again next week. Don't forget, these interviews are ongoing. You don't want to miss them, but catch the podcast interviews as well. All right, see you next week, guys. Bye.